episode, and let me tell you, this one is a super, super special one.
So special.
It is.
After all this time of boosting this episode, we're finally here.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
Yes, that's what a little excitement would do to you, allow you to jump the gun. But this is the episode we've been waiting to catch up with y'all on. So you better stay tuned in for the whole thing. The
Yes,
whole thing.
because we have a lot to talk about, but I guess you can kind of just like insert a little drum roll here because we're just going to kick it off and tell you guys the exciting news that this week me and Amanda and Mindset Talks podcast have officially been in business for 2 years now. So
Two.
super exciting. We were able to stick it out, and I actually can't really believe that we're sitting here saying that we've been doing this for 2 years because it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. So um reflecting on 2 years, it's just like it went by really fast, but it went by slow.
That's
Um
true.
like it makes absolutely no sense, very oxymoronic, but being in it, it's like that's the best way I can put it to someone who hasn't done it.
Mhm.
So it's just like 2 years. I remember starting and just being like, well, right, starting with a totally different kind of podcast. And
Sure did.
even from year one to year two, we're still not the same as the original idea, what we dropped our podcast as, to where we are today. We are totally different. We went
Right.
from a whole management mindset type of, ordeal. And
Yeah.
then we're moving on to talking about grieving and the loss of our parents and just being able to relate with others who have lost someone close and near and dear to them, or even like a pet who's near and dear, like just being able to relate to those who are grieving or have grieved in the past.
Mhm.
And now today we're just kind of on lifestyle and
Girl
kind of
chat.
current events. And it's like girl talk. It's just catch up with
Mhm.
your girlfriend, have a good time, and just be able to relate just as friends talking to each other and listening to us talk. A lot of people can relate to that. And it doesn't have to be just girlfriends. More girlfriends are going to understand us, of course. But it's just completely different turn. Completely different turn.
It is.
What got us here?
Me?
I know what got us here, but like what got us here? Tell the
Oh.
people what brought us to where we are today in year two, whereas, you know, 6 months ago we were somewhere else.
Oh, I don't know. What answer are you looking for here? Like,
The answer
was
is we literally have been so taken down by the grieving, I
oh,
think is what
well,
it came down to, is that we didn't mind, and we still don't mind being able to relate and to be able to help others through grieving.
yeah.
But when it comes to having to talk about it every week, all the time,
Yeah, it gets exhausting.
it's very exhausting. And not that you don't want to remember the people or person that you lost,
Mhm.
but it's just having to be reminded of it on a weekly basis, and then hearing yourself play back and hearing episodes and having to hear it all over again. It
Yeah,
becomes overwhelming. It's just a lot. And
it does.
it doesn't fully allow you to move on into the present if that's what you're really looking to do.
Yeah.
um Having to harp on the past, but the past isn't always a bad thing to touch on, but it's just being able to have a better balance. And having a podcast talking about that,
Mhm.
for over a year and a half
Mhm.
becomes a lot. We're dropping episodes on a weekly basis. That's a lot,
Yeah. It
So
definitely was, and especially when we've had, those technical difficulties and we have to re-record the same episode and same content more than
I'm
once.
glad you're talking about both of
So,
us.
we're sitting here doing this, not just once, we're having to do it, like, multiple times, and, granted that wasn't, like, the majority of the episodes, but I mean,
Right, right.
it,
But it happened here and there for sure.
yeah.
Like it definitely was a thing. So yeah, that definitely adds to it too. But it feels good to be where we are today in year two,
Mm,
just because those of you who have been with us from day one, you see the evolvement that we're going through. Like we're literally evolving as we get deeper and deeper into this. And that's something I did not expect at
me
all.
neither. No, not from when I came to you, "Hey, Manda, would you ever be interested in doing a podcast with me? I think it would be
Right.
great, we're both managers, like, we can sit here and talk about it," and here we are. No, we never even touched that damn topic.
Right. And listen, I still got that ready to go. Whenever you're ready to
Same.
drop that, we can drop that episode. I'm still ready to talk to the people. That was more of a time where I was like, I can't stand my job.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about, because I was
Right,
literally
right.
working 10 hours a day and it was just like, damn, bitch, like you want me to come home and still talk about it? That's similar to the whole grieving thing. Like, damn, they
Yeah.
already died. You still want me to keep talking about them? you know, it
Right.
ended up being kind of the same thing. So it's funny. I wonder if we did start with that management series, would we still be on that today?
Probably not because I feel like with grief, I mean, even though at times, like, we were struggling with, like, finding things to, like, talk about, I feel like
Hmm.
management might have been harder to, like, always talk about and stuff like that. I mean, unless we had, examples from what happened during the day, but then, like, when you change
Right.
positions and stuff, that would have changed things, so,
Yeah.
it really is interesting to kind of just see, like, the our life course, like, and how this is
The
kind of evolving
transformation.
now, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. But I was actually just thinking it actually may not have been a terrible thing though, because we could have started off as both of us from a manager's perspective, and then I could have changed my tone into a not being a manager anymore and giving my perspective of how I see my managers, right?
Yeah,
So it could have still taken a different tone, but
yeah,
still kind of be a this is what should be done instead because now I'm seeing someone else to do it. But I think if I got too deep into that, I would have had way too many stories. I probably would have had too many close calls on calling people out that I probably shouldn't and like
right.
violations of something. So
Exactly. So, yeah, that's probably better that we stayed far away from that.
right, right. We just talk about a little bit of shit here and there in between, but
Mhm.
just on a weekly basis, that probably would have been overwhelming too, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
No, I definitely think so. Um,
do you think it has become any easier being in front of the camera now
oh,
that we're this deep into it?
well, I mean, for me, I mean, maybe that's a better question for you to kinda reflect on because I guess I never really had an issue being in front of the camera because, like, before we
Okay.
actually did this, like, I did things for the previous, like, MLM company that I was working for, and I did,
Mhm.
like, a lot of, like, videos and, like, reels on, like, social media and stuff, so
Mhm.
for me, I feel like I was always pretty, like, comfortable with being in, like, a spotlight in a camera, so I don't think
Okay, spotlight.
that changed things for me.
Okay.
Um,
That's a good point.
yeah.
Um Asking myself, I would honestly say into my adulthood, I so let me go back. In my college days, like my younger years,
Mhm.
public speaking and speaking in front of people, I literally almost passed out in a Spanish class from that, just to give a
I
presentation in
can't
front of
do
my
it in front
class.
of people, yeah.
See, me, I get the same like we talked about in that one episode where you kind of get like your heart rate starts speeding up when it's your turn to talk or someone's going to call on you and you got to speak in front of the group and it's
Mhm.
like, oh shit, I'm sweating,
Yeah, I
my
don't get
heart
that with
rate.
this.
See, this I don't get that, but I typically would get that in front of people, like in front of a group of people. But in my last position as an assistant manager, I've become like so comfortable with talking in front of a group of people. But you know me, like I like to throw in a little jokey joke here and there. So if it's that kind of environment where I can do that,
Yeah.
then I'm fucking cake. I'm good to go. Like I'm gonna tear up the circle and y'all gonna wish I had more to say.
Mhm.
That is how I operate in that environment. So then when it came to us doing the podcast, I'm like, all right, like it shouldn't be that bad. It's just I'm talking to my girlfriend here. I'm not talking to a whole bunch of people that I need to direct on their jobs. So it shouldn't be, it's very uncensored here. So I should
Yeah.
be fine. But the only thing I'll say is and to this day, I still can't stand listening and watching myself talk. Like
Oh,
listening
no.
to myself and watching myself talk, I feel like for me, I'm like, ugh, gosh, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm always like, oh, my eyebrows are like something isn't right. So I just can't look.
Yeah.
So that for me is a little bit better. Like obviously you'll see I come on here about my eyebrows on the shit. So it's not that serious. But I've never really been too nervous to be in front of the camera when it comes to podcasting and talking with you. But I think it's because I'm comfortable.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, that's true. So, well, that's good then. So we, gotten a little better with that, so that's that's always a positive.
Right, right. We made a little progress here.
Definitely. But I think one of the most interesting things is just how much we have learned and, like, come from, like, the beginning because I remember, like, when we first started, it was like, "How do we do this? Like, what does the setup look like?" I remember we spent at least, like, an
Yes.
hour trying to figure out, like, how to hook up the computer so we can, like, hear each other talk,
Yes.
and I
Oh
was
my
like, "What? How
gosh.
does this even work?" And it's just kind of, like, the platforms to use and getting this
Mhm.
on, Spotify and all that kind of stuff, and
Right.
and it's one of those things where it's like you can sit here and you can research and you can read things and figure it out, but, like, until you truly get started, like, you have no idea because
You really don't.
we had no clue going into this.
No, and I still feel like there's something out there a little bit better
Yeah.
for what we're looking for that we still haven't found yet.
Mhm.
It's just so much trial and error, but it's like you kind of got to like double up on episodes just in case you try something new and it fucks your whole thing up, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, so you have to put in a little extra work to go ahead and try a different system, but there are, and it's annoying. It's like paint colors. There's so many different options out there to choose from. And it's just like, okay, this one has video capabilities, but it doesn't have editing capabilities, or this has audio and, like,
Or
and it's
this
just like,
works for
God
iPhones and
damn.
not Androids
The
or
biggest
computers. Yeah.
issue, y'all, we have come across having to go through different systems because I have an iPhone and this chick over here got a dumbass Android.
Hey,
So our stuff
rude.
is not, I'm talking, excuse me, I didn't interrupt you. So our stuff
Whatever.
is not compatible for every application or system we try to use.
Yeah.
And that was from the very beginning of time with this.
Yeah.
So that has been one of the most frustrating things. Like, our microphones need to be able to be compatible with whatever devices we're using because not only do we use our phones but we have tablets and laptops, so it's like
Yeah.
still like, oh, like you gotta have your adapters. Like, there's just so many little pieces to it that you just have to make sure add up.
Mhm.
And it was just like, and still is
Yeah.
like, damn, because I'm really over here, girl. I didn't even tell you, but I'm gonna tell you now.
Oh.
I busted out my old laptop. It's a Windows laptop,
Oh
okay?
my goodness.
So I busted out my old laptop and I'm like, and I haven't used this in like a couple of years
Mhm.
now at this point. Like, it's been a good minute. And I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and see what applications I can get on here since I know we would be operating with the same at that point.
Mhm.
So I'm like, let me go ahead and I'm about to start putting in some more research to see if anything that, we can kind of double back on and see if that would be a good fit now as long as my
Mhm.
laptop cooperates.
Mm. Oh, this is like a recent thought you've been having.
Oh, my laptop's right here.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, yeah. Well, okay, we can talk about all that kind of stuff. But yes, we are always trying to innovate because we still don't know everything. Um,
Mm-mm.
and like you said, I
No.
definitely think there's a lot easier things we can be doing because the
Hmm.
fact that like we're doing like video separate from audio and having to put them together and like it
Yeah.
gets very complicated.
Yeah.
So,
It does, it does. We definitely have more work for ourselves than we need to, and especially nowadays, there's the whole AI factor, which is huge
yeah.
and pretty damn awesome if you ask me, because I definitely use that for some of our stuff is
Mhm.
the AI. And for those of you who maybe, starting your own or doing any type of business, I'm sure AI is applicable in like any area of anyone's life. I literally use AI for cover letters and boosting my resumes to apply to
Okay.
specific jobs. Like, it's to that. So, that for me on the parts that I deal with for our podcast,
Mhm.
that for me has been critical because it helps to kill time because
Yeah.
y'all, this is time consuming that we do. Like, a huge piece of the time consuming is what Cassie does. She edits our videos and makes sure, the audio and such is lined up. Like she said, everything that we do isn't on the same platform. So you literally have to take different pieces and put them all together like a puzzle.
Yeah.
So that's a really big part of what she does. And I appreciate her every time she does this because it's like, God damn, bitch, like, you also have a little bit more flexibility than I do to be able to do that. So still super appreciated.
Mhm.
But just having that AI feature for myself because, right, I'm now podcasting as a mother versus before I didn't have as much responsibility as I do now.
Mhm.
My time isn't as tied up before compared to now. So now, like, AI has been a bit of a crutch for me. So that way it can help me pull some things together and, like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got that done. All right. Check, check, check. So
Gotcha.
no, it's pretty dope.
Yeah. Well, and that's why you have a co-host and you don't podcast by yourself because you guys can use different skills because you're clearly
Seriously.
way more knowledgeable about AI than me. I don't wouldn't even know where to start. So,
Yeah, as I'm over here texting you, all right, so how I get this video like this and
what's
yeah, no, it's really, really awesome to have a co-host because we not only build our own skill sets, but each other's. So
yeah.
it's so much teamwork and it's just a piece of mastering the skill, right? Like you're definitely not going to conquer it all within the first year or two, which we see. Definitely not conquering it all. But like you said, the amount of knowledge we've gained from the very beginning to today
Mhm.
is actually pretty crazy because I never really stopped to think back and like, oh, damn, like I barely knew how to operate my microphone well and make sure I have it on the right setting. Hell, even have the right kind of microphone.
Yeah. Well, even if you see like the videos we did, like we used to be like this tiny and it was like
Mm-hmm.
that was just a whole
Yes, grainy, and we ain't gonna talk about how that audio sounded because that was
Mhm.
also like, which is still on our intro today that we need to change, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
No, because what we are gonna talk about is all of the new well, actually, do we want to go there? Maybe we'll save that for last. What we'll talk about next, I guess, is
Hmm.
just kind of, like, reflecting on all of the opportunities that have presented themselves since we've started, which is
Ooh,
pretty cool
yes,
because this kind of just really started out as, like, a hobby and just, like,
right,
seeing, like, what can happen, like, where this would go and stuff, but I don't think that me and Amanda ever visualized that we would actually have any kind of deals or that we would be working with social media apps or, radios or anything
right.
like that.
The
So
level
it's
of
kind of
interest.
it's kinda wild to think that, like, just the opportunities that we've been provided so far is pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh, I know. The first one being, just me talking to my coworker, right? We have Rhode
Mhm.
Island Broadcasting, and this is just talking to a coworker I've worked with for many years
Yeah.
and never really realized, like I knew they had a sports show, but didn't really inquire about it.
Mhm.
And then not until really talking to them about like, yo, I'm thinking about starting this podcasting. I remember you have your show. And Rhode Island Broadcasting is the first broadcasting station that we are still
Yeah.
working with today.
Thank you.
And right, like big shout outs to them. Like we appreciate the support. Like they've helped to get us out there.
Mhm.
Even got us recognized by different podcasts where
Mhm.
we were interesting enough to be reviewed about,
Yeah.
you know? It was like,
Uh-huh.
you want did a review on like you did a review on us?
Right? That was pretty cool too.
Us? Right. Like I didn't know how to feel about that. I remember it was like someone doing a review.
Yeah, and it was wild to, like, hear them, like, talk about you and stuff, so that was that
Right, right,
was
yeah,
interesting.
it was
Mhm.
super different, like, super different,
Mhm.
and it wasn't like it was like, oh, like, someone we know talking about us, this was a complete stranger,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
That was Miss Lindsay May, appreciate her for that one.
Yes,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and
And then, yeah, we
was she before the app? No,
no, I think no,
she was after the app.
are you sure?
Well, we're not gonna jog your memory, but
I don't know why does it
I'm
anyways.
just gonna say yes.
Well, and then at some point in time, whether it's before or after,
We'll
we
be here all night trying to determine that.
yeah. We were then also approached by a social media app you guys have heard us talk about a number of times called Braid. And that was
Yes.
also pretty cool just to see that, like, okay, now we've had like two things that have somehow found us in our podcast. Like we're doing
Mhm.
something right to where we're being located, right?
Right.
And that was
Just
definitely a
crazy.
huge opportunity. That was pretty cool. Still is to
Yeah.
be able to
Starting off with them, as a brand new app on top of that,
Mhm.
like it was something newly dropped
Yeah.
and to be able to be a part of a, different community, right? Because these are people that are just from all over. They're not from the broadcasting station that we're with, or they're not from a friend of a friend.
Right.
It's just a whole nother
Random. Yeah.
atmosphere.
I remember being
Hmm.
like, "Is this, like, real? Is this legit?" And then we're like, "I don't
Right.
know," and we just hop on some video call with this guy, and
Right. Right.
and it turned out to
Oh
be
my
a
gosh.
great thing and a great opportunity, so
the first call, right?
Mhm.
Because that wasn't our last call either.
Sure wasn't.
It sure wasn't, because now we have WDJY 99.1 FM with Hype. I'm going to say it wrong because I always say it wrong. Hype Global.
Hype
Is it Hype
Media
Global Media?
Global.
See, look, dyslexia. Don't ask me to say shit. I had typed the customer's phone number in the system wrong the other day because I had it backwards. So yeah,
Oh gosh.
don't count on me. Count on Cassie for that part. But yes, so again, approached by another broadcasting opportunity,
Mhm.
and this time it's with a radio station. So we're also different kinds of avenues, right? Where Rhode Island Broadcasting, they're more of, reposting us on their YouTube, on their Facebook.
Mhm.
I want to say they have like a public access channel, but I cannot 100% recall. So apologies if I'm absolutely wrong on that. But, they're more of our social media boosting. And then you have Braid, where we're able to connect with more podcasters and just get ourselves out there in that area. And that's, another app.
Yeah.
And then now we have Rhode Island, excuse me, WDJY 99.1, which is an FM station.
Mhm. And
And
we're
now
also
you
on their
can,
website too.
and we're also on their website. So we're on their website. You can hear us on the radio. So it's like your girls are really out here in different places. And it's like, oh my gosh, people can hear me all over. Like, Cassie, Cassie,
I know. It's pretty
anywhere.
crazy.
Aside from being on YouTube, our own channel and Rhode Island Broadcasting channel, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's like these different entities are reaching out to us and they're wanting to share our content because whatever we are producing, it seems to be catching on. So I think our,
Right.
ever evolution growing. What am I trying to say here? All of our evolutionary changes are going on the right path is pretty much what it's looking to be. So
Preach.
uh
What you said, yes.
yes,
Because
all
Lord
of
knows I
that.
can't repeat that. You can't even repeat it. So, yes, but y'all know what Cassie is saying. She's in the
I
right
hope.
direction, right? Yes. It's just things are going very well for us. And not that we ever doubted ourselves, because I don't think that was ever the case, but it's just not truly foreseeing opportunities that can come our
Yeah,
way.
no, because if you would have asked me 2 years ago if I would be on the radio, I would look at you like you were crazy. Even 6 months ago. So
Right, right. It's just
Mhm.
like the radio. Okay. For one, it's like, oh, people still listen to the
Right,
radio?
and FM, we're not even on AM, so okay.
Yeah, right, right. That's the thing. Yeah, because who listens to AM? Nobody.
Mhm.
Or maybe,
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't listen to the radio either way, but yeah, it's just like, oh, sorry. I just had to take a deep breath for a second, because it is like overwhelming in a good way.
Yeah.
It's just like, people recognize success by many different things. People recognize success most of the time today by monetary figures,
Mhm.
like, oh, or of course, the number of followers, right? Like looking at your social media accounts and looking at your bank accounts. That's how people define success.
Yeah.
But when you're really looking at things in a full perspective, that doesn't fully define success. Like,
Sure
just
doesn't.
these milestones for us, yeah, we're not big yet, we we don't know where we're going.
Clearly.
We don't know where we're going, but it's just for where we are today.
Yeah.
This is huge for us. Like,
Mhm.
this is huge.
It really is.
Huge. It's like, how?
Girl, I don't know because when I just threw the idea at you, it was just kind of like a, "Hey, is
Right,
she actually
let's do
gonna say
this.
yes to this?"
Right. And it was perfect, because it's like we need to take more opportunities in our lives to say yes
Right.
to
Because
things.
why not?
You know, exactly. We're here to live.
Mhm.
And how are you living if you're really not opening yourself up to new experiences and different opportunities?
Mhm.
Because if we truly didn't want to keep doing it, we could just be like, all right, y'all. So today's the last episode. Love you. Mwah,
Right,
bye.
exactly. That's yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, but no, like this is an experience that's ever changing.
Mhm.
And it just makes me want to know what else like, what's coming next? What is next?
Yeah, I don't know. I
You
guess we'll
know?
have to wait for our 3-year recap.
I know that scares me,
Mhm.
because it's like, oh my gosh, what is that going to bring? If this
Right.
is what 2 years have brought us thus far.
Mhm. which I think is pretty
It's
cool in
sh-
2 years. I mean, it's a long time, but it's not a long time, you know?
Right, right, yeah. But I mean, it's also too as to how engaged we are too, because it's not like we have lives where we have a huge amount of free personal time to truly devote to our show.
Yeah.
Whereas, we still have our full-time jobs to work, we have our family lives to maintain.
Mhm.
You and your transportation is just
A nightmare in itself.
exactly. And then of course, like, I'm a whole mom, so that completely changed, the perspective. But just the fact that, you've moved, your commute has changed, and my personal life has changed. Like, even with the adjustments, we're still able to maintain. And I
Yeah.
find that to be awesome. And, it just makes me open to finding more opportunities to be able to give more time back to our show.
Yeah.
And just a mere example, you always hear about me like, oh, I need to change my job. Like, yeah, I need to change my job mainly for myself, but it'd be cool to truly change it because then it can change things for our show too,
Yeah, that's true. So,
you know?
like I said, evolutionary. We're ever changing over here.
Yeah, yeah, little chameleons we are. Hmm.
Yes. And speaking of changes, with 2 years, me and Amanda have felt like we're a little outdated. So,
Yeah, it's like your grandma's old woven couch
ugh,
that is itchy when you sit on. That shit gotta go.
yeah, it sure does. Because when we talking about like not knowing what we're doing when we started to, trying to like learn things along the way, well, graphics and design have been one of those things. So,
Right, but y'all gotta remember, we're doing this ourselves. It's not like we have someone else on our team. Like, there's
yeah,
there's
no,
no other person behind the cameras that y'all don't see. Like,
no.
it's
We
just
don't have
really
any
the two people you
employees.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
No, no. No, just
Mm-mm.
us. Just us. So you guys can be on the lookout for some new pictures and graphics on all of our social media to coincide with our 2-year anniversary because
Yes.
we gotta be out with the old and in with the new over here because it's just not
Yes.
working anymore.
I'm
So,
so excited for y'all to see it.
yeah,
So
me
excited.
too.
So excited.
Me too. So on all of our social media pages and to include our YouTube videos, layout will be changing as well because those videos have just got to go.
Right. So if you're only tuning into us on a podcasting platform or, on the radio, you're going to need to go on to our pages.
Yeah.
We're just going to need you to go on and click on in there
Mhm.
and
See
the
what
link,
we're
everything. Check us out.
yeah, exactly.
We got, we got something for you to see.
We
And
sure
that would be
do.
us. That would be us.
Oh, goodness.
I'm excited though. Because it's something that we've been wanting to do, but it's just like at the right time. You got to do these things,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's true. Because 'Cause we've been working on it for a while, but then, like, you know what? We might as well just wait for the 2 year because it was close enough, even though it's kinda
Hmm.
far, but, whatever.
It's a celebration.
We're here now. That's all that matters.
Exactly. Ooh, girl, I'm so excited.
Yes,
Yes.
I am too to see
Oh,
where the next year will bring us because we've been through a lot.
hmm.
There's been a lot of changes, like you mentioned, and
Yeah.
it's just interesting to see like what's going to happen in the future. Like, what does the
Right.
future have in store? Because
Right.
it's been a wild
So
ride.
so I'm gonna jump a little bit and I'm gonna ask, so we're at year two. Between, say, by year five,
Hmm.
we're just gonna go that far, right?
Okay.
By year five, what would be something that you would like for our podcast to have, or is there a place you would like for our podcast to be in?
I would just say overall, like getting our like social media, so like Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube more popular when it comes to
Hmm.
viewership and like followers and likes and interactions and stuff like that because
Yeah.
we have it now but on a very small scale. We're not viral by any means. So
Right, right.
um
Do you want to be viral?
yes, I do. I have my hesitations just for reasons, but no, I do overall. I think it would be kind of cool.
Now, do you want to be viral for like a good minute,
Well, no, I want
like the
like
folding
everything to
chairs,
be viral.
or do you want to be
Folding chairs.
viral for like
Go ahead.
Alabama with the folding chairs.
Oh,
Like viral for a minute viral or like consistently viral. Oh shit, just hit the mic. I'm sorry.
well, I mean, consistently. Why, if we're gonna,
Oh, no, I'm just asking. Well, because you can be viral off of a moment or you can be viral off of many moments. So that's just why I ask.
gotcha. I mean, listen, the
Mhm.
minute we have one viral moment, we'll be good.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I'm gonna tell you that scares me a little bit. It
I mean,
scares
of
me just
course
a little
it
bit.
does because that comes with scrutiny and comments and the good and the bad and
Screw
the
you.
ugly. So,
The world is different. I'm not gonna say the world is mean. There are mean people out
oh,
there,
and we've had
but
our experience with those too.
oh, girl, I've seen it.
Mm,
People always be looking for a place,
of
but
course.
it's again, it's different on a smaller scale than a larger scale, and we're gonna have to hire a team at that point to just be filtering things out
I mean,
because there's just so much.
maybe we will have a team by then. Just maybe.
Well, you know what? I'm just gonna speak into existence. I'm definitely not gonna be having the same job in year 5, so my time will be open.
Well, there you go. We're gonna have to because I'm tired of editing videos. So
Facts. We got our team to do that, guys.
hmm
Don't you worry.
sure do.
That's how I'm gonna talk on every episode of year 5.
Oh God,
Yeah, so
please.
welcome back to another episode of Mindset Talks podcast. Our team is gonna edit this when we're done. Thank
Well,
you.
I'm gonna need y'all to write in and let Amanda know that that cannot happen, please. Thank you. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Fine, whatever. Y'all know I like to have fun. We know who the more fun one is right now on the show.
Whatever.
Your girl here.
Anyways, people love
All
my
right, mother hen.
dry
Anyways.
sarcasm. Coming from the mother. Okay. Anyways, on that note, guys, I think that we need to wrap up this lovely anniversary episode for y'all. And
Past my bedtime.
make sure clearly. So make sure you guys continue to watch and follow us on all of our social media platforms and podcasting platforms because your girls have a lot of exciting things in store and we are just all over the map. So keep tuning in.
Definitely. Yes, Mindset fam. Just want to tell you guys that we love you. We always appreciate you here riding with your girls from day 1 to year 2.
We
Like, this
do.
is so crazy. I hope you guys look as forward as we do to what is to come in the future because there are endless opportunities
Yes, there are, and we are seeing it every day.
every day. So, thanks again, y'all. We love y'all. And until next time.
Bye, guys.